Welcome, I'm TW. Why the atheists say in his mind and in his heart, there's no God. The reason is this. The atheist is blaming God for man, animalistic behaviour, the cruelty, the hatred that man act out on his fellow man. And the atheists look at this and said, if there's a God, this should not be happening. But if the atheist should look deep within himself and know himself, then he will recognize that deep within him, where the thoughts arise and become ideas and comes into existence as action, then he will see the process at play on its man, just like he's a man or he's a human being making that decision to bring what he want to bring into existence. For hate and cruelty and this animalistic behavior to come into existence, it gotta go through the thinking process within the mind before they can act it out in the external. For a thought comes in with its ideas and move that person to take action and throw out into the world all that craziness, all that cruelty, all that hatred, all that jealousy. So if the atheist dig deep within himself and see where these things are arising within himself, he will recognize that he's no different from any other man. And it's the same process at play within every man, where a thought comes in and go through the thinking process, then come into existence. And if he can see that at play within himself, then he will realize that man is the one who is responsible for his action. Because the thought comes in, you have the choice to accommodate that thought, or you have the choice to reject that thought. You have that choice not to give that thought any access to your resource, to the thinking process within you. And if you do that, then that thought with its idea cannot come into existence. But once you give it access, you give it accommodation, then that seed as a thought comes in and develop into what it developed into. So this could be the cruelty, and this could be compassion. And if you look at the process carefully, you will realize that this is the process playing out within every man. All that man bring into existence, good or bad, it's coming from the thoughts that they accommodate. And if they accommodate those brutal thoughts, those wicked thoughts, then those wicked thoughts lead them to take the action that they take. Just like how the Nazi develop what they develop, and you see the end result of that. Just like the Inquisition developed those ideas, and you see how that plays out. Because these are the things that the atheist is looking at and saying, how could these things happen? Because some of the really nasty things in the world is perpetrated by religious people who believe there's a God. And when the atheists look at that and see that playing out, that's the conclusion they jump to. If this God is so good and so wonderful, why does this God let these things play out like this in humanity? All this cruelty. But he's not looking at the opposite side of this, where the good and the compassion. So if he's blaming God for the cruelty, but he's not giving God credit for the good things that man bring into existence through the thoughts that he accommodate. If the atheist should go really deep down within himself, where things begin, where a thought comes into the mind and it starts to develop through the thinking process and taking shape as an idea, and that idea bring other ideas combining, becoming what comes out into existence. Sometimes it's on a small scale and sometimes it's on a bigger scale. The bigger scale, we're talking about a country, a nation developing certain ideas which dominate the life of that country, the rules and the regulation that they put down, the laws that they apply in society. If you should go back to where that began and sit back and you can look at it, which you can look at the thoughts as they arise in the mind, and you can know immediately after a while, when you get used to this space and you can look at what's coming in. The minute it comes in, then you can see exactly what it's about. What is it bringing into you, into your life, and what does it want to achieve? What is it pushing you to achieve by developing and using your resources to accomplish that? Because even what I'm speaking right now to you is coming from thoughts, it's coming from ideas, and it's the same process that's playing out in every human being. And that process doesn't care really about your nationality or your religion or anything. Once you accommodate the thought, it's gonna take form, it's gonna take its shape, it's gonna move through you to come into existence. And if you can see it from the foundation, from the beginning, from the natural state when it just arises there, and you know exactly what it's about, you can right there eliminate it. You don't give it any focus, you don't give it any attention. So if the atheist should come down deep within himself, where these things are rising up, then he will see the process itself at play. And once you can see the process, the thinking process from a thought, coming in through the thinking process into idea, you make the decision and you take the action. Then once you can see that playing out, then you recognize right there and then that is the responsibility there is within man himself control, because he can stop this process at any point in this before it comes into action. He can cut it off, because once it's in the mental space, in the mental world, he can stop it. He cannot stop it once he has acted out in the world. It's going to have its effect. So the cause is the thought which stirring up everything, and the thought which you accommodate bring the effect on the exterior. And once you can look at the process within you playing out like that, the part of you that's looking at all this is the real part of you. The real part of you that can stop, make the decision not to bring these things into existence. Because you can. You don't have to accommodate every thought that approach, because I'm sure there's some thoughts that approach the mind and you don't want anything to do with them. So it's the same thing within every human being. The thought that he developed, that's where he speak from. The ideas that come, because that's what's overflowing within that person. So it's the same thing with the atheist. He developed this mind, this idea that there is no God. But if he should go straight down into the beginning, he will recognize something else. He will recognize the forces within the thoughts, that they have energy within them, and it's that energy that's trying to come into existence. And where is that energy coming from? Within the thoughts. If he should go down to that level or go up to that level to see this at play, then he will discover a total different world buried deep within himself. And that power he will recognize as the power that's running through everything within him, within the thoughts, within the water he drink, within the breath that he take, within the food that he eat, within everything that is surrounded by this power. And they give all kind of different name to this power. And if the atheist should come down to his natural state, or go up to his natural state, wherever you want to put that, then he will see what's happening deep within himself. And if he can see what's happening deep within himself, then he will see what's happening deep within the universe. He will see the major power that's not visible to the naked eyes. Because you need a different kind of eyes. You got to spend some time deep within yourself to develop this kind of vision to see within yourself. It takes time to develop. But once you get inside and you sit for a while within yourself and spend some time with yourself, then you can see these forces at play. And that's why I come to the conclusion that the atheist who is saying there is no God does not know himself. Because if he know himself, he will realize he's a part of something even greater than him. Because if he come to know himself, which he have to do, well, not only him, anyone who wanna know who or what the major power in the universe is, gotta know themselves. And it's through knowing yourself you will recognize the greater power at play in the universe. But first you gotta recognize that power playing out within you and how you are using that power and how that power is using you. And once you can recognize this at play, then you will see things for what they really are, and you can see the different forces at play in the universe that's flowing through you and everything else. If the atheist should dig deep within himself and get down to his natural state and know himself, then that's the door that he gotta open to knowing what's real within himself and what's real within the rest of the universe. And once he go down to that level, then he will recognize something much greater, much bigger than what he see just on the surface. He will come to know himself, and he will come to know the power that create everything that is included him or her, whosoever form that take. He will recognize the major power at play, the only power, and that power you cannot see with your naked eyes, and this power you cannot just see on the surface like that. You gotta go deep within to find that power. Remember to bring some clarity and some awareness into your creative space. 10 to 12 deep breath can get you started. Blessing be with you always. Thanks for dropping by. Peace.